Hey guys, it's Distilled Bourbon Podcast. I'm Brent. I'm here with my co-hosts Chuck and Brian. And if you have a bourbon lover in your life and you're looking for that special gift, we've got the answer for you. Here are the top 5 recommendations for gifts for bourbon lovers. And let's get right to it, fellas. Number 5, let's take a class.
Take a class. And one of the best classes I've taken on bourbon is Stave and Thief Society in Louisville, Kentucky. It goes into the rich history of bourbon. Chuck and I have both taken the course and highly recommend it. But I also recommend classes at your local liquor stores. Total Wine, Liquor Barn, if you're in Kentucky, or even the Beverage Barn, for instance, has classes that you can take at the liquor store.
Yeah, I can't wait to take that Stave and Thief class from Moonshine University. If you haven't heard our episode from season 1, we'll link it in the show notes below. That was a great interview, and man, they're doing some cool things over there.
And if you're not local to Louisville, Kentucky, or in this area, you can also do a distance learning version of the course as well. So that's not out of the question.
Fantastic. So let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is get some awesome ice cube trays.
So a few years ago, I was visiting friends in Fort Myers Beach, and my buddy said, "Hey, I've got a surprise for you." So he directed me to the freezer, and he showed me these huge ice cube trays. They were silicone, kind of flexible, and it made for a big 2-inch square cube. It doesn't melt nearly as fast as smaller cubes do. There's less surface area. You can get the square ones that are really big. You can get round ones. They have some ice cube trays that are 2-piece, have a little hole in the top. That'd be a little tricky. You don't want to spill water all over the place. That's one reason I like the square ones. It's just super easy to fill up and keeps your favorite beverage cold for a long time.
Yeah, I've had both of those, and I like the square one as well.
You just got to be sure you have a big rocks glass to get that big square cube into it.
But man, it looks cool when you get
it. And not everybody enjoys their bourbon neat, so ice cube tray is a must for a bourbon lover.
And it's super affordable. Yeah.
All right, so number 3 on our recommendations for gifts for bourbon lovers is a really good rocks glass.
That's right. A nice, big rocks glass, because as Chuck hinted to, some of those ice cubes are very large, and you need a big rocks glass to be able to handle that ice cube. Also, if you don't prefer your bourbon on the rocks, I would also recommend getting a Glencairn. This is for bourbon lovers who enjoy their bourbon neat. I enjoy bourbon neat, but I also enjoy bourbon on the rocks as well. So both of these would be good gift ideas.
Have both in the stable.
Yeah, and you can find these on online distributors. But I love buying these at distilleries. Man, they are so cool, and they usually put their logo. This is from Kentucky Peerless Distilling, and I enjoy drinking out of this glass all the time. So we're down to number 2 on our recommended gifts for bourbon lovers. Number 2 is get a magazine subscription.
There are a number of magazines out on the market that cater to bourbon and whiskey enthusiasts. I've got a couple here right now. Whiskey Advocate is a very popular magazine. It often has lists. This particular issue has the Whiskey of the Year, the top 20 whiskeys as judged by Whiskey Advocate. Another excellent magazine is Bourbon Plus. It's produced in Kentucky. Has a lot of feature stories. You learn about the personalities in the bourbon industry, but you also learn technical things about whiskey, like harvesting peat for Scotch and such like that. So these can heighten your bourbon experience. They can make you more knowledgeable and get you excited about trying new bourbons and going out and visiting distilleries.
Both really well written. I enjoy both of them every month that I get them. So we're down to number 1, fellas. Everybody knows what it is. That number 1 gift for the bourbon lover is
take a tour.
There are so many distilleries out there that offer tours. Of course, there's the famous Kentucky Bourbon Trail. There's the Kentucky Bourbon Trail Craft Distillery of smaller distilleries. And then there's a lot of independent distilleries that aren't part of those tours. Most tours take about an hour, including the tasting. Many of them are limited to people age 21 and older. Some are free. Some cost a little bit of money. My number 1 recommendation, especially if you're going to go to one of the real popular distilleries, is make reservations weeks in advance, especially if you want to go on a weekend. You can't expect to walk into Angel's Envy or Maker's Mark just on the spur of the moment. They're super popular. People book them well in advance. So get reservations and make a plan to visit 2 or 3 in a single day. Take your spouse, take another couple, introduce some folks to the lore and the taste of bourbon. We love taking tours.
Oh, yeah. And each distillery is unique in itself.
Oh, boy.
They're very different. And if you're not in Kentucky, don't worry. There's distilleries popping up everywhere. I've been to distilleries in Texas and Florida, and they have their own very unique process.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is one of my favorite things to do. I learn things every time I go to a new distillery. I love the small ones. I love the big ones. They're very different. And there's just nothing better for a bourbon lover than going on a great distillery tour.
And on that rick house.
And, one of the little side benefits of this is to meet new people, meet bourbon enthusiasts from around the country. Just have a lot of fun talking bourbon with new friends.
So there you go. That's our top 5 recommendations for gifts for bourbon lovers. We hope you've enjoyed that. Let us know what you think. If we didn't mention one that you think is just perfect for that bourbon lover in your life, let us know. You can send us an email at info@distilledbourbonpodcast.com or send us a message on Facebook. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. And with that said, please drink responsibly.